Last week I swore Sinister. This week, Paranormal Activity 4.
It's the new kid from across the street.
His name is Robbie.
Yeah. His mom went in the hospital. So he's just gonna stay with us?
He doesn't have anywhere to go.
He has no relatives.
I don't know. I've never met his mom.
Welcome to MaffmanJones Reviews. Today's featured film review will be for Paranormal Activity 4. This movie stars a bunch of one-and-done actors who will make this movie and nothing else in their lives, and also stars the really hot Katy Perry lookalike Katie Featherston, who's been in all the Paranormal Activity movies, and the plot essentially is about another rich white Caucasian family that's being haunted by a bunch of paranormal ghosts. Preferably Toby. Alright, it's time to give my run-of-the-mill for the previous films in the franchise. Paranormal Activity 1, when I first saw it, scared the living crap out of me. I thought it was a really effective horror movie, and the way it was marketed was brilliant. And the first time I saw it, I'll admit, it's one of the best theater experiences I've ever had in my life. Second movie was okay. Third movie, which I saw last year, if you've seen my review, my first review of all time, if you go watch it on my channel, it scared the crap out of me. It had good likable characters, and the ending just freaked me out. But in this movie, I could start to realize that I think this franchise is taking its course, and it's time to stop milking the cow and stop. There's some good to this movie, but it's mostly just Let's just get all the bad parts out of the way. Paranormal Activity 4, it's not a bad movie, it's just generic, and I can admit, these films are really fun to go sit in the theater and have this really cool experience because you don't get these experiences anymore. We had them with Saw, but Saw wasn't really scary. With these films, you can get a cheap little thrill every Halloween year, and they're fun. I'll admit, they are fun. But it's starting to become more apparent now that these movies are generic and bland, and it's time to go. First of all, I felt no real sense of danger and tension and suspense in this movie. I wasn't scared until the end of the movie, which I'll get into later, but for the most part, me and my friend were just goofing everything off, laughing at everything that was happening. Understandably, it's good alleviation to play off horror with comedy when you're with your friends, but we were just doing it because the movie was funny, unintentionally. There's a bunch of cheap jump scares and some, maybe one or two creepy visuals, but nothing truly scary happens until the last 10-15 minutes of the movie. There's really not much you could say about this movie. They kind of expand the mythos and the story behind Katie and the baby Hunter, who is in the second movie, and they kind of expand it, and apparently, due to a post-credits scene, they're going to make a spin-off that's Latino, which, in my opinion, just sounds preposterous. But for the most part, it's just, if you've seen the other three movies, you've seen this before. Now, to incorporate what I thought was good in the movie, the acting for the most part in these movies is always serviceable. It's never anything great. Katie is extremely hot. She has the perfect package, and she's really nice to look at in these movies. But the two teenage characters, the main female lead and her boyfriend, were really, likable and understanding. If you take anything away from this movie with the characters, the boyfriend was the most likable, and when things take a turn for the worst, you feel the most for the boyfriend. Also, the last 10 to 15 minutes of the movie are typical Paranormal Activity fare, where things just spiral out of control to the worst possible point that it can go to, and things just get crazy. And I won't say that there was anything memorable, but the ending of the movie did get to me, and it was kind of similar to Paranormal Activity 3, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. And there was even though the ending was kind of a cheap jump scare, it's still, the visual aspect of it still got to me. Overall though, Paranormal Activity 4 is very generic, it's very bland. Also, big point here, whereas I was very heavily affected by Paranormal Activity 3, I was shaking, I couldn't sleep for a day or two. Right now, if I shut off all the lights right now, I wouldn't be creeped out at all. Whereas with Sinister, I was shaking for at least 2 or 3 days, and I'm still freaky about it. When I think of Bagul, and I hear the music from that soundtrack, but with this, I'm just like, okay. Well, I had a cheap thrill, and now I'm done. As our majestic prophet of our generation, Jay-Z, would say, on to the next one. Given everything I've said, I'm going to give this movie 2 out of 5 stars. It's not a bad movie. It's really not a bad movie. It's just really, I've said it before 1,000 times, it's generic. I gave it a 2 because the main teenage characters were likable and the ending is scary. It is. If you spent money to see Paranormal Activity 4, please let me know either about it in the comments down below. Did you think it was scary? Did you think it was a worthwhile wait and a good installment in the franchise? Please like this video if you enjoyed this review, and also subscribe if you want to take it a step further. Also, you can check out my Twitter and Facebook accounts on the channel. I'm John from MaffmanJones Reviews. Get ready for another Paranormal Activity 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, God, I can't think of it anymore. See you next time.
Oh my god!